What is good, Sixer Nation? You already know who this is. It's DFJ Hoops. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any videos released on his channel. I got a great live for y'all today. We're gonna be reacting to Sixers Media Day 2024 from yesterday, and we're gonna break down things that the players said, things that the coach Nick Nurse said, Daryl Morey. We're gonna break everything down. So as soon as you come in, please make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Salute to my guy Michael in the building. Says salute. What's good? How you doing, brother? Yeah, I was supposed to I was supposed to do a watch along reacting to media day, right? But something happened, so I wasn't able to do it. But hey, nonetheless, we're here today. We're gonna be reacting to everything. Um I got a few takeaways from media day as well, so we're gonna be breaking everything down. But it was great media day. Probably one of the best ones so far in the Joel Embiid era. This one was it was quite no noise, nobody made headlines or anything. The Sixers didn't go viral this time with somebody not showing up. I don't think any. Now I think Miami had Jimmy Butler didn't get there early, and people were trying to make a big deal out of it, but he showed up and it was good for them. People were expecting him to come with some different type of hairstyle, but he came in his normal braids, and he's locked in. And the same thing with the Sixers. Nobody went viral. Players showed up. They did what they were supposed to do. They spoke to the media, and some statements were made by some players that were going to be reacting to everything. So yeah, y'all just bear with me. Now, the team will be having training camp in the Bahamas, right? So, right after media day, they got on the flight and they headed straight to the Bahamas. Now, I still wish that Buddy Hield was on the team because he is Bahamian. So, they probably would have had practice sessions at his at his crib like they did last season, where when they went to Dallas, they practiced on his in his facility. So, but we still wish Buddy Hield we wish him the best of luck on his future and current endeavors. He's on the Golden State Warriors right now, so wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully he makes the most out of his ability. So shout out to Buddy Hield. But yeah, this team they'll be having training camp in the Bahamas, so we're wishing them the best. We're wishing them the best of luck. Hopefully everything goes out perfect for them, and hopefully this journey goes very very good, and we hope that the results is what we expect it to be, which is the NBA championship. Now, let me get into my takeaways real quick, and let's break everything down. So, yeah, you see the nice, the fresh faces right here on your screen. Paul George, number 8, Embiid in the middle, 21, and you got Tyrese Maxey, right there on your left hand side. Now, this is probably their first photo they ever took, right? So, but there's still more to come. But I just want to start with my first takeaway from Media Day 2024, and my first takeaway is Embiid. Now, my first takeaway, sorry about that. My first takeaway is the sound of silence. Now, what do I mean by the sound of silence? Now, the last 2 out of 3 years, the Sixers made a lot of headlines at media day, right? And it was because some players were not showing up, or some statements that were being made, and we all remember the Ben Simmons thing where he didn't show up, and they were asking Embiid some questions, and Embiid was speaking his mind, speaking freely. I'm here to play basketball. I'm not here to babysit, and the Ben Simmons fans, oh, Embiid is throwing Ben Simmons under the bus. Embiid doesn't care about his teammates. He only cares about himself. And he finally shows up to the facility, and then he gets kicked out, and it was just drama all over the place, right? And we remember last season, right? Or let me say last 2 seasons, with James Harden going through whatever he was going through, and requesting a trade and not getting traded, and double down on him still wanting to get traded. They didn't trade him, and then come media day, he doesn't show up. Right, the first 2 or 3 days he didn't show up, and then he finally showed up at I think they had media day in Denver, so he finally showed up, and a few practices in, and then he stopped showing up And it was just a whole, it was just drama all over the place. They're asking questions, asking PJ Tucker questions, asking Maxi and B, Tobias, all those questions. And, these guys just wanted to play basketball, right? They didn't really care about the drama side of it. But, the media, they're gonna do their job. They're gonna ask the questions that the fans want to know. And the fans always want to know what's going on. So this season was a lot different, right? This year was a lot different. Guys came in, and it was just a positive environment. It was just a healthy environment. You could tell these guys are happy that the season will be starting very very soon. You could tell guys are really want to play basketball. They really want to compete at a high level, and they really want to go win a championship. And they don't really care about the extracurricular activities. And I mean, I think everybody they acted professional, right? And B, Maxi, George, Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry, Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, Ricky Council the Fourth, KJ Martin, like all these guys. Shout out to Jerry McCain as well, and Adem Bona. Shout out to all these guys. These guys want to play, and they acted in a very, very well behaved manner. And they were all professional throughout the course of the event, and it was just a healthy environment in my opinion. So the environment was very, very good, and that's why I named this one "The Sound of Silence" because there was no drama, right? No controversial statements made by anybody. I mean, somebody did say something which we're gonna get to in a very few minutes, but for the most part, the Sixers did not go viral, and you could tell this was a very, very healthy environment, and this is the kind of environment that you really need to be working in, especially with the task ahead of the Sixers, right? The goal is to go win a championship, right? And if you really want to go win a championship, the energy has to be positive. There has to be positive vibes. Everybody has to be on the same page. And if there's drama, if you start off with drama, it's always not going to end up the way you wanted to. So I'm just glad everything went very, very fine. And B, you could tell he was very, very happy. Maxi always smiling. Maxi and Jerry McCain, just those two guys are always going to make the environment very, 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 very good because they're always smiling, right? So those two, and then you couple in George and Martin, and Kelly Oubre, very, very funny dude. He started off his press conference, if you want to call it that. He started off with something funny, and you had Ricky Council also cracking jokes before the start of his him addressing the media. So it was just fun. The experience was just fun. I really wish I was there to be around to see how happy these guys were talking to the media, addressing the media. So that's why I'm calling this the sound of silence. So shout out to all these guys that came out and made us a very, very good experience. Shout out to the reporters as well, Kai Carlin, Keith Pompey. Shout out to him. I think the Philly sports guys was there, but I didn't hear from them. So shout out to all those guys. Shout out to everybody that made this a very good experience and not taking things out of context and not doing too much. Because sometimes most of these reporters they be drawn. So we're just happy that everything went very, very good for everybody else. Yeah, shout out to my guy Humble. Appreciate you for being here, bro. Yo, I texted Tuna Sports and he still didn't get back to me, bro. He still didn't get back to me because I was trying to tell him that the Sixers signed Isaiah Mobley to a training camp deal. So I was just, I wanted to ask him some questions about it and how he thinks, it could work out for him. But yeah, that's the reason why I was texting him. But yeah, appreciate you for stopping by, bro. Appreciate you. He says I got the 76ers over the Knicks this year because Joel cooks Karl Anthony Towns every trip. Yeah, that's true. I think somebody put the stats up in one of those Sixers group chats that I'm in, and I think Embiid was averaging like 31 points or some nasty stat line like that. I was like, oh shit, I ain't even realized. So, I mean, me personally, I got Sixers over the Knicks, and the Knicks, they're still a good team. Let's not get it wrong, but they're going to be a tough matchup to go up against. So, but I will still have the Sixers over the Knicks. He says feels like bro's been nah. He good. He good. Yeah, I'm just waiting for him, bro. Just waiting for him. And not just not just the question that I had for him, but for the Cleveland Cavaliers as well, because he's my go-to every time. I mean, not every time, but for the most part, if I really need to know something about the Cavs, Tuna Sports, his channel is one of the first places that I go to. I don't just follow the Sixers. I follow every team. So it's great that we have Tuna Sports available. So shout out to him. Shout out to my guy Mike Sports Vibes. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. The Eagles are not really doing too good, but yeah, the Sixers, we're gonna be perfectly fine. Appreciate you for stopping by, bro. If you haven't, subscribe to Mike Sports Vibes. He's everything Philly but the Eagles. So you already know what it is. But my second takeaway is Embiid is setting the tone, right? Embiid is setting the tone. Now, Joel Embiid is the longest tenured Sixer player on this roster, right? He's been on the team for the last 10 years. I mean, he's heading into his 11th season, but he missed his first 2 seasons. So playing wise, he's heading into his 9th season. So, but nonetheless, he's still the longest tenured player on this team. And if you're on the team for a very, very long time, in my opinion, I just think you take on some leadership role, some leadership responsibility, you take it, right? And it's not just with Embiid, it's throughout NBA history, right? Players that have been on teams for a very, very long time, they end up being, one of the leaders on the teams. And it comes with it, right? You can look at the Golden State Warriors, and Steph Curry is one of the leaders on that team. Yeah, he's the best player on the team, but he's also one of the leaders on that team, along with Draymond Green and Steve Kerr. Like, those are the leaders on the team. And then with other teams, what other team has the longest tenure player? Can y'all tell me in the comment section? Let me go to the Miami Heat in 2023 when they got to the finals. Now, even though Udonis Haslem wasn't playing, he was still one of the leaders on that team, right? And he had been with the team for up to that point, I think, like 20 years or something like that. So automatically he became one of the leaders on that team, one of the veterans on that team. And I think it's the same thing with Joel Embiid, right? He's been on this team that long. So I think he should take, I look at him as one of the leaders on the team. Now, along with beside him is, you got Kyle Lowry, who's been in the league. I think he's heading into his 19th season. That's crazy, right? You got drafted in 2006. He's heading into year 19. I think Lowry's one of the leaders on the team. And then you can say Paul George is also a leader on this team, right? Veteran player, been in the league for a lot of years, played on some very, very good teams, has experience, has the veteran leadership. So, I would say those three guys are the leaders right now. So I think with Embiid being one of the leaders, he set the tone yesterday. And listening to him talk to the media, he did say that he had lost 25 to 30, 20 to 25 pounds, 25 to 30 pounds, which let's let's all be real right here, right? Let's be honest right here. It's going to be very, very difficult to burn 25 to 30 pounds in 2-3 weeks. And we saw him at the Olympics, right? And from that time to now, it's going to be damn near impossible to burn 20, 25, or 30 pounds, right? It's just not possible. But taking a look at him right here, he does look a little bit slim, right? He looks slimmer. He doesn't look like he did at the Olympics. I think he definitely lost a couple pounds, but I'm not gonna say 20 or 25 to 30 pounds. Like, nah, that's ridiculous, right? And Embiid doesn't seem like somebody who can lose weight quickly, right? Now, he looks like somebody who gains weight very, very quickly, right? Looking at his frame, that's who he is. Him, Harden, and all some of these guys, they gain weight pretty quickly. Now, me personally, I'm the quite opposite. I lose weight faster than I gain, and that's one of the reasons, because I be starving myself a lot, so that plays a role. But I'm not in the NBA. I don't work out every day. I don't play basketball every day. So my lifestyle is very, very different from somebody in the NBA, where you have to work out almost every other day. You have to eat, get your carbs in, get your proteins in, your vitamins, your minerals, and take your supplements or what have you. So it's going to be different. But looking at Joel, I don't think he lost 25 to 30, but he definitely did lose some. He lost a couple pounds. So he looks a little bit slim here. So that's, I mean, me personally, I think that's very very good because the host of the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, BJ, y'all can go sub to this channel, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. He did tell me that he thinks, and I mean, I think everybody else has been saying the same thing. He thinks that Embiid, him getting hurt and him always getting hurt is because he is a little bit, because of his weight contributes to him getting injured because all that weight coming down on your knees, on those tendons, on those ligaments and shit like that, that's definitely it's not always good, and especially Embiid being the, always going jumping up, going for rebounds and landing. That's a lot of weight that comes down on those knees. So he did suggest that Embiid lose a few pounds in order to stay pretty healthy throughout the course of the season. And he's shown that, he's willing to do it. He's shown that he's willing to do it. And he has proved that he's lost a few pounds, not 30, not 25 or 20, but he's lost a couple pounds, which, as a Sixer fan, I think we should just hope that he can continue to lose more weight and be a little more, slimmer, not fat, not overweight. I mean, he's not fat, he's not overweight. He's in shape, but we want him to look a little bit faster on the court, in terms of, him in transition, him running up and down the floor. And, you still want him to be dominant. You still want him to get on the block, use his size to overwhelm defenses, overwhelm his primary defender, and get those easy points when he's under the rim. So I think Embiid, losing weight, I think it sets the tone for the team because other players are going to look at him and think to themselves, I mean, if he's willing to lose this amount of pounds in order to, stay healthy to go win a championship, then I should also work on my game. I should also incorporate this into my game. I should also try to add this into my game in order for me to play at a very, very high level and for me to play at my best and to help this team go win a championship. So, when you look at other guys like a Kelly Oubre, right? If he sees that Embiid has lost weight, he can also say to himself that if Embiid is willing to lose weight in order to go win a championship, I should also work on my game. I should also get in the gym and put a few pounds on because I mean sometimes you did see Kelly Oubre in the playoffs was a little bit weaker, which I mean when you're guarding somebody like OG Anunoby, I mean OG's pretty strong. Like he's an ox. So you need to have a little bit of muscle on you to go up against him, right? So I think, somebody like Kelly Oubre, getting in the gym, working on your body and also working on that three ball. Now I did see some couple workouts from him where he was knocking down threes. He was just draining threes. And I really like that. So all I'm saying is if Embiid is willing to lose, some amount of weight in order to, stay in shape, stay healthy, and play for a very, very long time, other players like a Kelly Oubre, like a Ricky Council, and like other guys, they're also going to, work on themselves or work on their games in order to play at a very, very high level to benefit them and help this team go compete for a championship. So, yeah, I think Embiid set the tone yesterday at media day. Oh, word. Okay, I see. I see, Mike. You know what I'm saying? You talking that talk. You don't just talk that talk on your channel. You talk that talk everywhere, and that's what I like about you, bro. Yeah, shout out to Mike Sports Vibes. He talking that talk. It'll definitely be scary when Joel and PG are healthy at the same time while still being able to get Maxi involved. That's definitely true. I think that's one of the biggest priorities this season, and not just to get Embiid and George healthy. I think everybody has to be healthy, right? Everybody got to be healthy in order for in order for the main goal to come true, which is go win a championship. So yeah, this will be a special season. Embiid has a complete team with a great coach. That is true. Now that coach rankings that came out, I think Nick Nurse was what, number 2 or number 3 on that list. So yeah, that's absolutely true. That's definitely true. Um, the third thing that I want to get to, my third takeaway is healthy competition, right? Healthy competition healthy competition. Now, other than these three guys on the screen, pretty much everybody else has to compete for their spot, right? And it's not going to be, like a I'm calling it a healthy competition because it's not going to be anything toxic or anything, anything what's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, it's going to be healthy. I mean, you can throw Andre Drummond in there because if Embiid comes off the floor, Drummond is the next in line, so you can take him off. But as far as the guards and the forwards go, it's going to be a very, very healthy competition, right? So a player like Eric Gordon, or Reggie Jackson, or Jared McCain, these guys, these guards, they're going to have to fight to get in the rotation, right? They're going to have to prove to Nick Nurse that, they definitely have what it takes. And I think one thing that they would have to do as well is they're gonna have to gain Nick Nurse's trust, right? You're gonna have to gain his trust. And I know Eric Gordon, I mean, he's a veteran player. He's been in the league for X amount of years. He's played on some great teams, some contending teams. He played on the Houston Rockets team that in 2018 that took the Golden State Warriors to 7 games, I believe, right? So, he's a veteran player. He's has a ton of experience, but he's also getting older. So um he's going to have to prove to Nick Nurse that, I deserve to be in the rotations. I deserve to be playing. I deserve, consistent minutes because we have a lot of good players on the squad. And in order to get playing time on this team, you're going to have to get Nick Nurse's trust, and you're going to have to prove to him that you deserve consistent and quality minutes in the rotations. The same thing goes for the forwards, right? I think I think PG and Caleb Martin, those are your starting, those are going to be your starting forwards, right? Maybe PG at the 3, and then you got Caleb Martin at the 4, right? These are your starting forwards on the team. So I think their positions are, you can say they're guaranteed, but still there are other guys on the bench who they're going to have to prove, or they're going to have to earn Nick Nurse's trust. And that brings me to this guy on the screen right here, Ricky Council. Now, Ricky Council, he has a lot of potential, right? He just has natural, raw abilities, right? You can see him every time he plays. He plays with, he always showing effort, and he plays with a lot of heart, right? He's fearless, rookie player, undrafted player. So he's always trying to make a name for himself. He's always trying to get the trust of the head coaches. Now, last season, one thing that you could pretty much point out in his game that was a significant weakness was he wasn't a great shooter, right? He wasn't a great shooter. So I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't really get any playing time in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, he's a young player, but his inconsistent 3-pointers, that really hurt him a lot, right? So in order to crack the rotation, in order to be in the rotations, I think one thing that he's going to have to prove to Nick Nurse is he's going to have to prove that he can shoot that 3 ball consistently, right? Him, Yabusele, YSL. I'm not going to call him Yabusele anymore. I'm going to just call him YSL. Him, YSL. YSL did prove a lot in these past Olympics, and when he played for Real Madrid, if I'm not mistaken, right? Give me a second, y'all. I'll be right back. Yeah. Sorry about that, y'all. But the point that I was making was, guys like YSL, he's gonna have to also prove that he deserves to be in the rotations. Now, I think he's gonna be in the rotation, right? Nick Nurse is gonna find, some he's gonna find him a role. He's definitely gonna be on this team. I mean, he's on this team. He's definitely going to be in the rotations. He's definitely going to have a role to play on this team because what he brings to the table, his skill set is definitely needed, right? A very solid rebounder at his height. I think he's about 6'7", 6'8", right? He's a terrific rebounder. He can shoot the three, and he can also attack the basket. I think he's a more athletic Montrezl Harrell, right? I think he's a more athletic Montrezl Harrell. I think Montrez did play more physical than him, but he has kind of like Montrezl Harrell's skill set, but he has even more because he can shoot the three. Montrez can shoot the three. So that's who I compare him to. So he's definitely going to have a role on this team no matter what. But what I'm saying is guys like, Ricky Council, guys like KJ Martin, these guys, they're going to have to prove that, they can play. I mean, they can already play, but they're going to have to earn Nick Nurse's trust. And Ricky Council, like I said, young player, has a lot of upside. He's going to have to prove it. KJ Martin's going to have to prove it as well. Now, a lot of people in the Sixers nation, they want KJ Martin to be traded, right? So it's no secret that KJ, people want him gone, right? So I think he has to play very, very well in order to not get traded, right? Because he can get traded at any time. I think he gets eligible for trades on January 15th. So that's the day that Sixer fans are marking on their calendars because they want this guy going so bad. So he's gonna have to bring his A game, right? He's gonna have to bring his A game. He may not consistently be in the rotations, but I mean, I think KJ definitely has a lot of he has a lot of potential, and the same weaknesses that Ricky Council has, you can make that argument that he has those weaknesses as well, right? They're both high flyers. They're both athletic. They both finish they finish good around the rim. The only thing that lacks in their game is the 3-pointers, right? They're not good floor spacers. So that's something that they're going to have to add to their games in order to have a job, essentially, because even Rico Hines said this, right? You wanna be able to shoot the three ball at a very, very high rate. So when you're working out, when you're working on your 3-pointers, you should go at least 8 for 10 from the 3-point line, 9 for 10 from the 3-point line, 10 for 10 from the 3-point line. Be very, very consistent because that's one of the most important things in this game today, right? Along with other things that you can bring to the table, like playing defense, grabbing rebounds, attacking the basket, things of that nature. So, yeah, these guys, they're gonna have to be very, very consistent shooting the three ball, and that's why I'm naming this healthy competition, right? That's why I'm naming this healthy competition. So my fourth takeaway is healthy competition, and my fifth is consistency, right? Consistency. And this is something that Embiid did. He brought this up when one of those reporters asked him the question, right? Shout out to my guy Michael. Appreciate you for being in the house. Um, in order for this team to be consistent, right? Now, one thing, it goes back to one of the first points that I brought up. This team has to be healthy, right? You got to be healthy. You got to be on the court. If you're healthy, that is one step to being consistent, right? And I got into a debate or argument with somebody about this, about some other player who is not consistent, and I was making an argument for him. I was making an argument why he wasn't consistent is because he's always hurt. So if you're not on the court, you're not going to be playing, and if you're not playing, you're not going to have the ability to be consistent, right? So consistency is one thing that this team really, really needs, and even Joel, he took it a step further. That when we talk about consistency, I'm not just speaking on just playing one season. I'm speaking on the roster construction, right? The players that you have around you, because when it goes down, teams that are more consistent in terms of the roster, teams that have the same rosters and are healthy, those are the teams that end up going to the NBA Finals and winning the championship. Now, yeah, there's always going to be some anomalies, but from this decade, I think teams that have been together the most for a long time, getting to know each other, building chemistry, those are the teams that end up going to the finals and winning the championship, right? Now, in this decade, the only team that's the anomaly is the Lakers, right? In 2020, they got LeBron in 2018, and then the 2019 offseason, they added Anthony Davis, They had Danny Green. They already had KCP. They added Dwight Howard. They added Markieff Morris at the trade deadline, and they were able to go win a championship, right? But other than that 2020 team, the 2021 Bucks, they had Giannis, they had Middleton, they had Brook Lopez. That was the core, right? Then they added those complementary pieces, and they went on to win the NBA championship. The 2022 Warriors, Steph, Clay, Dre, that's the core, right? And then they added those complementary pieces. They added Otto Porter Jr. They added GP2. They added Bielitsa. They added all those guys. Guess what? They go in a championship. The 2023 Denver Nuggets, right? They had Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and then they added those complementary pieces like the Bruce Browns, the Jeff Greens, the KCPs, right? And they won. And 2024, this year, the Boston Celtics, they had the same, they had the same core, right? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I mean, you could even add Derek White to it, right? Because until Derek White got on that team, that's when they got to the final. So you would say that was the core, and then they added Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and guess what? They won the championship. So case in point is that teams have to be healthy, and the rosters have to be consistent in order to go win a championship. Now, some anomalies do happen, but for the most part, teams that have been together for a long time and are healthy, those are the teams that go win the championship. So that's what I mean by consistency. The roster has to be consistent, throughout the course of the season and for multiple seasons. That's how you can go win a championship. So what I'm saying right here is 2-1, right? It's 2-1. You have to be healthy in the regular season, and the team has to be together for quite some time. So with this Sixer team right here, you have Embiid and you have Tyrese Maxey, right? So that was your that's your core, right? Or I mean, somebody might add a Kelly Oubre to it because he was on the team last season. So okay, let's add Kelly Oubre to it. So you have your core. Now you've added your complementary pieces, right? You added your Caleb Martins, you added your Yabuselis, you added your Paul George. I mean, I should have said his name first because he's the main piece, right? One of the main pieces. So this team, if they're healthy, they can go win a championship, right? Will they win the championship? I don't know, but I just made the point that the team has to be consistent in order for them to have any kind of success. And what I mean by success is to go win a championship. So, um, those are my takeaways from Sixers Media Day 2024. Um, I could have said a lot more, but I'm gonna just stick with these five. I think I made some very, very valid points with these five right here. And let me go to some of my reactions. So, number one, I want to react to Andre Drummond, right? He made a statement. Now I'm glad to have Drummond back on this team. Shout out to Drummond. One of the best rebounders in the league, right? You have to give that to him. But he took it a step further, right? He took it a step further, and I want to pull up his quote. He says he was one of the greatest rebounders, if not the greatest rebounder in NBA history. Now, man, this is funny. Um, Humble says, "Is Nick Nurse part of the core?" Oh yes, yes. Nick Nurse is definitely part of the core. So yeah, you have your three guys. You have your head coach, right? So yeah, he can definitely be a part of the core. Because Milwaukee, they had the same coach. Golden State had the same coach. Um, Denver had the same coach. Now Boston, they switched up their coach. Um, Ime got fired and they hired Joe Mazzulla. So the coaches can definitely be a part of the core. So yeah, Nick Nurse is definitely a part of the core. So Drummond said he's the greatest, rebounder in NBA history, and you know, I have nothing wrong with being believing in yourself. I have no issues with it, but taking it a step further, that's ridiculous because Drummond, he's one of the greatest rebounders. Don't get me wrong, but the greatest, no, I absolutely disagree with it because um even with the Detroit Pistons, he started his career in Detroit, and people may some people might even make the argument that Dennis Rodman was a better rebounder than he is. Right now, I would say the same thing too, because Dennis Rodman did lead the league in rebounding like 7 straight years in a row, something that nobody else did in history. I think Wilt won 7 in a row. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think Wilt is the greatest rebounder of all time. I mean, averaging 22 rebounds a game for his career. I mean, beat that, right? Grabbing 55 rebounds in the game. Andre Drummond beat that, right? Yeah, there's no way in today's era, there's no way anybody grabs 55 rebounds in a game. So, Drummond, you're not the greatest rebounder of all time. If I have to rank the greatest rebounders of all time, definitely Will Chamberlain is over you. Bill Russell is over you. Moses Malone is over you. I might even get nasty and put Elgin Baylor over you if I'm being honest. But Dennis Rodman obviously over him. Is Kareem over him? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I will put Kareem over him, but um, I mean, let's not get it wrong though. I mean, if Andre Drummond was on the Pistons and he was playing at the same level that he was playing at, he was on his way to having 20,000 points, 20,000 rebounds, right? But he got traded, got moved to the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Humble will definitely Humble will definitely remember his time with the Cavs, right? He was on Cleveland. He went to the Lakers. He came to Philly, and then he went to Chicago. No, he went to Brooklyn, and then went to Chicago. So he's basically a journeyman. So, being a journeyman, you're going to be a rotation player, and when you're a rotation player, you're not going to get your numbers the same way you was getting them when you were a starter. But I think the rebounding, the ability to rebound is definitely there, but the production is not there. So the production is definitely gonna go, you know, it's not gonna go in his favor. And I think he played in the wrong era. If he played in the 90s or 80s, 70s or 60s, yeah, he'd probably be one of the greatest rebounders of all time. But in today's era where guys are shooting a lot of threes, you're not going to get the same rebound production that a Will Chamberlain was getting, or a Bill Russell was getting, or a Dennis Rodman was getting, because they took shots closer to the basket. But now with these long rebounds and shit, guys don't go to the rim nearly as much. So the production is just not going to be there. So, it is what it is. But I think he's one of the greatest rebounders of all time, but not the greatest, but one of the greatest. So, yeah, yeah, that's one thing I disagree with Andre Drummond right there. Um, DFJ, you're basically saying it's great to have confidence, but let's be realistic. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Right. That's all I'm saying. And I mean, yeah, if you some of the greatest rebounders, I mean, like I said, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Moses Malone, Dennis Rodman, Jerry Lucas, Nate Thurmond. These are just off the top of my head. I mean, Kareem. I could even do more research and rank the 10 greatest rebounders of all time. But it is what it is. You can have confidence, but don't go overboard with it. Sometimes you got to be realistic. So yeah, shout out to my guy Humble. He summarized everything I said. He said in a short way. Shout out to him. Dwight Howard over him. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I forgot about Dwight. I forgot about Dwight. Or even, Sixers legend who passed. God bless us. So Dikembe Mutombo was he was not just a great player, he was a great human being, right? He did a lot of great things for his country, did some great things for the Sixer team, right? And you can even make the argument that if he wasn't on the team, the Sixers probably don't get to the finals in 01, right? His defense, his rim protection ability, his shot blocking, that really aided the Sixers to make that deep postseason run. And he was a dog, right? So, rest in peace to Dikembe. I don't even think I'll put Drummond over Dikembe, if I'm being honest. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's subjective. So when it all comes down to it, comes down to what you value. So yeah. But Drummond is definitely top 10. I'll put him top 10. Now, another thing that I want to address is Paul George, PG 13 or PG 8, 8 ball Paul, right? Um, I'm glad number 13 was retired on the Sixers, right? Number 13 is not a good number. If you do numerology, the number 13 is not good, right? If you study numbers, you know the number 13 is not good. And that's why Will Chamberlain was losing to Bill Russell in the 60s, right? Because he was wearing number 13, and 13 signifies bad luck. So you can go do your research on it. But PG made some statements that, he said this is the first team that he's playing with a star guard and a star center, right? This is first time in his career that he's had that caliber of players on his teams. Now, it's a little bit, Pacer fans didn't really Pacer fans don't really care. They could care less about PG. But I mean, when PG was on the Pacers, right, he had George Hill on his team, had Lance Stevenson on his teams, Danny Granger, David West, Roy Hibbert. Now you can make an argument that Roy Hibbert was a star center at that time, right? Because in the 2000s, there wasn't too many great centers. I mean, the 2010s, there's not too many great centers in that decade, right? So you can make a case that he was a star center. He made the All Star team twice, if I'm not mistaken. So, I would consider him at that time as a star center, right? But yeah, he didn't have a star guard on that team. So yeah, he was probably right. He's probably right there. But me personally, that's not something that I would say, even though it's true. It's not something I would say, right? Because people might think that you're trying to suggest that the teams that you played with in the past, those are not really good teams. And that's not a good look every single time. Now, Clipper fans were going at him when he said, people consider the Clippers as a B team. So, these are, some of these statements are not. If I was in his shoes, I'm not going to make statements like that, right? I'm not going to make statements like that because people might think you're kind of looking down on some of the players that you played with, right? And then he got to the Thunder, and Russell Westbrook at that time, he's definitely a star caliber guard, right? We're not even going to argue that at that time he was. But Steven Adams, he's not a star. He's not a star center. But I think Steven Adams is solid, right? Steven Adams is a star in this country. I think he's from New Zealand, one of those countries. So he's definitely a star in this country, but not in the NBA. So even though PG was, that was true, but that's not something I would say, right? And then on the Clippers, Zubats is not a. I mean, will anybody consider Zubats a star center? I mean, I have him top 10 on my list as a center in today's game, but as a star, I'm not gonna say a star, but he's solid as a center. But I mean, he played with Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly's not a star. He's not a star guard. Rondo at the time is not a star guard, but James Harden is a star guard, right? Russell Westbrook is a star guard, but I get what he was saying with the combination of those two, and he's never had that. This is the first team that he's gonna be playing with, those caliber players, which is true, but I'm just saying I wouldn't make that statement if I'm him. And people didn't really think it was that big of a deal, but I mean, it's just bad choice of words. The Sixers super team. Oh, shout out to Tune In Sports. Appreciate you for being in here, bro. Appreciate you. Um, appreciate the sporting page. The sporting page salutes Mr. DFJ. The sporting page doesn't see the super chat for a donation. Yeah, very soon. You'll see it, bro. Very soon, bro. Sporting page, appreciate you for being in here. I saw Sporting page on the Kobe Bryant film room. Shout out to him. He's doing a great job, even though I cook him almost every single time. But that's for another time. But yeah, appreciate you for being in here, bro. Yeah, I can go sub to Sporting page. He does a great job as well. So shout out to him. Shout out to my guy Casual in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I can sub to a Casual Connection or Casual Vibes as well. Has very, very great perspective on the game of basketball. I enjoy having basketball conversations with him. Shout out to him. But yeah, I think that's it. If I'm PG, I'm not making that statement, but it is what it is. And the last thing that I want to that I want to talk about is, Tyrese Maxey. He made a statement. He said the focus should not be on us. I mean, the focus should be on us and not the other teams in the Eastern Conference. Now, the East, yeah, the East has gotten better over the last few seasons. If you look at what the Knicks did, Boston, the NBA champions, even Milwaukee, we shouldn't even look past Milwaukee. Um, and then you have other teams, the Indiana Spacers, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, I said the Spacers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Orlando Tragic, right? These are teams that, Orlando's definitely going to be much better, right? They took the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games in the first round, so they're gonna get better, right? I think a player, Paolo Banchero, he's definitely, I consider him the next Carmelo Anthony. I believe he'll have a better career than Carmelo. Man, I don't want those Carmelo fans to come for me, but I think his game is kind of comparable to a Carmelo. I think the only difference or the separator is Carmelo's a better. I think Carmelo is definitely the better scorer, and Paolo does more things on the basketball floor. So I think Orlando's going to get better. Franz Wagner, he's going to get better, and they acquired KCP this offseason, so they're going to get better. But the landscape of the Eastern Conference is much different. So with Maxey making that statement, I agree with him. The focus should be on us more than the other teams. I mean, when we get to play them, then we can deal with them. But as of right now, we're also a very new team, right? This is essentially a very new team that's been put together. So the focus should be on the Sixers, right? Because you have a lot of new players. George, Martin, all these new players: Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond. They've played with Andre Drummond before, so it's not going to be that big of an adjustment process. But the other new players, that's where the focus should be. And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. When you get to play the other teams, then we can talk about them. We'll be looking forward to your coverage this year, brother. Yeah, appreciate you. And I'm also looking forward to the Shaq versus Ben Wallace that matchup in 2004. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, if you put an AI generated footage in there, I'm gonna catch you. So just be just be aware of that. Shout to shout to Brian. Man, shout out to Brian Pumper. Man. Appreciate you. We smoking the bum ass Knicks. Yeah, you already know what it is, bro. We smoking them like a blunt. Our late night sessions in KB Film Room is the Lions Den talk. We're in professional hours right now. Yes, sir. I mean, I'll be going in there 3-on-1, 4-on-1. I'll be holding my own, bro. I mean, come on, man. It's easy work, bro. Lakers Rondo was the last time we can ever appreciate his point guard abilities. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I mean, he should definitely be a head coach, right? He's very, very knowledgeable on the game of basketball. And I mean, me personally, if you ask me Rondo or Chris Paul, trust me, I'm going for Rondo. Now, people might call me crazy or whatever, but I don't care. I'm going for Rondo. So yeah, I'm always gonna go for Rajon Rondo. So Rajon Rondo, my fault. Y'all hear Jalen Brunson? Buddy's bummed out about Dante. Knicks is messed up. I didn't listen to I didn't listen to the Knicks yet. I gotta go listen. I mean every media day I try to listen to all the players. I mean it's gonna be difficult every season, but I try to listen to a lot of players as they address the media. So I haven't watched the Knicks yet, but I gotta get to it. And then I gotta measure where their mental is right now on the current trade. But yeah, I definitely gotta go take a look at them. Tune, I thought you was man, Hubble, you crazy as hell, bro. Paolo don't got the ball handling. I mean, you see him as an initiator sometimes. I mean, okay. I mean, I speak on Paolo on a projection, like how I project him to be. So that's why I'm making that statement. And I mean, it's coming from somebody who doesn't really like Carmelo Anthony. So that's why not that I hate Carmelo, but I have Carmelo as one of the greatest scorers of all time. But as a player, I don't think Carmelo was a winner. And the sporting page can definitely, I'd be going in on Carmelo. So yeah, I'm not a Carmelo guy. Yeah, Maxi's statement was proper and professional. The correct approach. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's always been, always been like that, right? He says the right things. I mean, he's definitely media trained. He has his own podcast, so he's definitely, I think he's media trained. He answers in a very, very professional manner every single time. So yeah. If it was somebody else, yeah, they'd probably say something different. Yeah, they asked Brunson about Dante. He was a groomsman in my wedding. That's all you need to know. He looked pissed. Took a pay cut to send his homie away. Bro, let's be real. Jalen Brunson did not take no pay cut. I hate when people say, "Oh, he didn't take no fucking pay cut, bro. He's getting paid under the table." And if you don't think so, that you just don't want to accept the truth. He didn't take no pay cut. He says your Apollo comparison is pretty on point. APT, what's APT? Both he and Melo entered the NBA as grown men. Yeah, Melo was a grown man when he came in the league, and Melo's just that's one person you don't want to guard. When he was in his prime, oh my goodness, physical, fast, and fat. It is something you don't want to deal with. Maxi's the reason Bryce Young is folded. Yeah, he's had the perfect year. Got his contract extension. Got the Maxi Museum. He took somebody's. Man, it's crazy. The Allen Houston video will be coming out today. Ben Wallace soon had the altar course and do a Dikembe Mutombo one based off his passing yesterday. Yeah, rest in peace to Dikembe. Rest in peace. And listen, y'all, Allen Houston is good, but y'all trying to put him in the same echelon as Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. Like, are y'all serious? Because when KB asked me that question, he was kind of like, "Is Reggie Miller an elite shooter?" Absolutely. Is Ray Allen an elite shooter? And he asked me about somebody else, and he asked me about Ray. I mean, he asked me about Allen Houston. Allen Houston was good, but as a shooter, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna put him in the same echelon as Ray Allen. I'm sorry, bro. But I mean, they Knickerbocker fans, so they're gonna say that regardless. Are the Sixers a super team? Tune in sports. The Sixers is not a super team, right? They're not a super team, and I was on KB Film Room. We had a lot of arguments, and KB his logic is always inconsistent, right? Miami was a super team, but Golden State with Kevin Durant's not a super team according to him. So, but I don't. This Sixer team is not a super team. Let's dead that logic, right? PG's 34 years old. He's 34. Come on, bro. Super teams, they got to be in their primes. 27 and 32. But Tunis, I told you the last time, the super team is any team that has either Kevin Durant or LeBron. So if Kevin Durant or LeBron is not on the team, trust me, he's not a super team. So yeah, I'll put it that way. Oh, okay, appreciate you, Sporting Page. I appreciate it. He's not in the echelon as Ray Allen. You're correct. Okay, so why did y'all have an issue with what I said? Because when KB was asking me those questions, if you ask me about Ray Allen in terms of a 3-point shooter, and you ask me Reggie Miller, and you bring up some of the greatest 3-point shooters, and then you ask me you ask me about Allen Houston, absolutely, I'm not gonna put him in that tier. I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not gonna do that. So, maybe that's what they wanted me to do because he played for the Knicks. I don't care about the Knicks. Haven't won in 51 years. Yes, they're a super team. If the term super now means normal. Man, Sporting Page, stop it. The Sixers are not a super. And me personally, I don't really care for a super team, right? I said the 1983 Sixers is a super team because those guys were in their prime. I think Dr. J, that was the last year of his prime. right? He was 32 years old. So that was a super team. But this Sixer team, now come on, bro. The dude on your screen is 34 years old. He's not in his prime anymore. He's still formidable, but he's not in his prime. So it's not a super team. But the Clippers and Cavs was. If you're talking about last season, you know I was trolling you last year when I was saying all those teams are super teams, right? You know damn well I was trolling you. But yes, the Cavs in 2015, 16. I mean, you can make the argument, but even to be honest, I'm not gonna call that a super team. But these LeBron haters, oh, it's a super team. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, let them have it. Yeah, TuneIn Sports is a troll. You said good for his era. Hence the debate, but let it go, brother. I did say he was good for his era. Maybe that was an understatement. I mean, he was okay. Let me say he was elite in his era. But I mean, if I'm ranking the 3-point shooters of all time, top 10, he's not going to be top 10. He's not. So you got to let it go too. Yeah, I got you, bro. Any NBA player that got them a podcast now is not a superstar anymore. Really? So LeBron had a podcast. He's not a superstar anymore. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, that brings me to the end of my takeaways and reactions from Sixers Media Day. Yeah, it was great. It was really really great. Um, Drama free, no controversial statements, no Sixers are not going viral, and that's definitely the kind of they're in the right mindset heading into a season. So it's going to be a long season, training camp, and then regular season. I mean, training camp, preseason, regular season, postseason. I mean, I'm ready for this, right? I'm ready for this. The guys, they're in Bahamas right now, so man, I need to go to Bahamas, to be honest, bro. I gotta go to the Bahamas maybe next year. Anyways, DFJ, I must go now. Wanted to pop up and show my support. Keep up the good work, bro. Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Anytime. Anytime. Yeah. Bro, we not hey, Brian Pupper, we not doing that over here, bro. LeBron, Diddy parties, baby oils, we not doing that over here, bro. Wait, if you type Diddy in here, I'm not saying that name anymore. That would be my last time saying this would be my last time saying it. Baby oils and all that. No, no. We not doing that over here, bro. There's a basketball channel. I just want to hear basketball shit. That's it. Other things outside of basketball, I don't care. But yeah, shout out to Brian Popper, man. The name is funny, very, very funny. LeBron can't get past the first round anymore. DF Shay. I mean, yeah, that's true. But I mean, I think when you talk about superstars, I always have an issue. Do guys lose their superstardom or do they keep it forever? That's something that I always debate. And I don't know if I should according to my criteria, I don't know if guys should keep it forever or guys should be able to lose it. Like I always have that debate with myself, but I'm gonna definitely come up with the answer for it. Okay, because they love calling LeBron's Cavs a super team, which is fair, I guess. I mean, I really don't care. I mean, because they said Kevin Love was the best power forward in the league at the time, and then Kyrie was one of the best young guards in the league. So, but I mean, I get it. But at the same time, Kyrie and Love, they had no postseason success. Forget about postseason appearance; they had no postseason success. So they had never been in the postseason, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin Love was getting numbers 26 and 12 and 26 and 13, missing the playoffs. So it's just difficult for me to call it the super team. But if people call it the super team, yeah, it is what it is. So LeBron is 400 years old. Any current player with the podcast haven't won a championship, so good luck. That is a lie. And the reason why I'm saying it's a lie is because Draymond has a podcast and he's won a championship. Now he wasn't the best player on the team, but I mean, Paul George is not the best player on the team anyway. So, but Draymond definitely won it. He won a championship. So, yeah, that's a wrong. Who said that? Yeah, so tune in sports. Yeah, you're wrong for that, bro. But yeah, I think this brings me to the end. Appreciate each and every person that tuned in. Shout out to Tune in Sports, Humble. Shout out to my shout out to my guy Brian Puffer, man. Appreciate you for stopping by. Sporting Page, he stopped by to show support. Mike Sports Vibes was in the building. My guy Casual was in the building as well. Shout out to him. Shout out to Michael as well. Yeah, appreciate the love, appreciate the support, bro. Um, yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Yeah, this was a fun one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Peace.